Nothing was working though. The pain kept getting worse. I was getting stiffer. I got so desperate. At night, I would sleep with a cervical collar. That's what you see people in movies who have whiplash. I was wearing that at night. I went to a chiropractor, he cracked my neck. It sounded like a steamroller going over bubble wrap. People were flinching because it was like, it sounded like a drive-by. That was my neck cracking. He actually told me, you have the worst neck I have ever seen. Like, couldn't you just say I was normal? I went to a certified acupuncturist. And it's not bad enough to have the title puncture in your name, but I went, and what was really concerning was his office was the spare bedroom in his apartment. And I let this guy stick needles in my body. And I was having pain in my hands, my feet, my neck, and my back. So he put needles in my face. I let this guy put 67 needles in my face, and then he handed me a mirror. What? You don't do that to somebody. I don't want to look and see that I have become my own voodoo doll, all right? I screamed and I looked like a sea urchin, just these needles floating in the current, just praying I wasn't struck by lightning, and it didn't make any difference. I was sleeping an average of 12 hours a day and taking naps. And the amazing thing was I just was rationalizing this all. I'm like, I've just been pushing myself a little hard, burning the candle at both ends. And it kind of dawned on me when a buddy came over in the middle of the night, wanted to borrow a beer, pounds on the door. I open it in my cervical collar and my clogs, limping around. He's like, were you in a car accident? And I was like, no, this is my life now. This is my normal. And I went home that Christmas, and I was going around with my dad, the world-famous doctor. He wanted to go skiing, and he saw me limping around. He's like, I can't take Frankenstein skiing. So he drags me to his buddy's office, and he's like, let's figure out what's going on with his feet so we can get him on the slopes. The guy took an x-ray of my feet. I'd had him 4 months before, totally normal. Puts the x-ray up, severe erosive changes. Diagnostic for rheumatoid arthritis. My dad looks at me and he goes, well, I guess you're not such a wuss after all. Thanks, Dad. It was amazing, though. Over a year and a half, I gained 45 pounds. I'd stopped working out, sleeping nonstop. The only thing that kept me going was stand-up comedy. Getting out every night and laughing. Because if I hadn't had this, I don't know that I would have made it. It was as bad as my life had ever been. But then I started treatment. I didn't realize how bad I'd gotten until I started getting well again. And it was awesome. I was like, this is incredible. I couldn't play the piano, but I couldn't before I had RA. So that was probably a fair trade. But it's amazing. And that's why I love being up here and trying to spread the word on RA. Because I'm a doctor. My dad's a doctor. I had friends who were doctors. And I still wasn't sure what was going on. I can't imagine what it's like for somebody who doesn't have those advantages to try to figure out what their life is going to be. And for me, I didn't know anybody who had RA. So I just pictured that, when you hear the disease rheumatoid arthritis, to me, that sounds like an old person disease. Like, I thought that went away with, consumption and dropsy. That was like in the Civil War, I've been felled low by the rheumatoid arthritis. Doc says the leeches might be able to suck the bad humors out of my body. And that's why it's great that there are places where people can go to find out about the disease, to find out the treatments, and to find out what their loved ones are going through, and to find out they can still end up like this. You were supposed to clap or go that's great, inspiring. No, too late, people. Turned on me.